This is tax reform for the Koch brothers and the other billionaires in this country.
Yes, sir.
This is a disaster for the working families of America, who, if these guys do what they say they want to do, will include a $1 trillion cut to Medicaid.
Yes, I'm here to counter-protest this protest to make sure I get my tax cut.
We don't get those.
Just yesterday, I delivered this donation to Paul Ryan to ensure that this tax bill goes through and my billionaire friends and I can, have a little extra spending money. It's important. Christmas is coming.
We have a preamble to the Constitution that talks about what our country is about, to provide for the common defense. Do these wealthy people want to pay for the common defense? No. Do they want to provide for promoting the general welfare? No. To promote the well-being of our country?
No.
It is really a moment of truth for America.
At last count, the state of Kansas employee workforce has been reduced by 25%.
We need a fair tax code.
Yes.
We need a tax code that helps lift us up, not push us down. The bottom line is, this tax thing these tax cuts they're pushing over here are an abomination.
Yes,
Not only will they reward the richest among us, they will actually take revenue away from the government to stop important programs to help you and your family.
Take our schools, for example. Our school districts have been forced to eliminate programs, lay off staff members, and even shorten our school weeks.
A fraction of the 1%, just yes or no, do they need another tax cut? No! I couldn't hear you very well. Do they need
Hell no! Hell no. Hell to the no.
I think I got the drift. Do companies that want to ship jobs overseas, do they need another tax break? No! Thank you. We won on health care. We can win on this again. Thank you.
The greatest problem we face is the growing inequality of income. And what does this bill do? It takes money from the poor and the middle class and gives it to the rich and the powerful corporations. The worst thing you can do at this time.
As a mother of 3 children, I have seen firsthand what this experiment has done to our people.
The American people know that this bill favors the rich over the poor and the middle class. The American people know that 1,000 greedy people who run the Republican Party are running the show here.
Yeah, they are.
We can beat this bill the way we beat health care.
Joining us again is the brand new Democratic leader of the United States Senate, Senator Schumer. Senator Schumer, thank you very much for sticking with us. I want to ask you about the last person who was in a position like yours. After Barack Obama got elected, Mitch McConnell was in your position, and he basically bucked political science. He did an experiment. Take on a very popular president who has a very popular agenda, make every effort to block that agenda without any regard for the polls, and then just sit back and wait for the voters to punish the governing party and reward you for being obstructionist. It seemed crazy and almost outrageous at the time to people who were observing it in the moment, but it worked like a charm for his party. You are not planning to borrow that playbook, though.
Well, we're going to be tough. But, look, and Bernie and Elizabeth agree with me on this. Let's say he proposes, as he said he would, $1 trillion infrastructure bill, a grand public works bill. Now, we Democrats have always believed it. Bernie campaigned on it. But you have to look at the details. We're not going to just go for anything he proposes. It's going to have to be our bill. So, for instance, they've said, we'll do it with tax breaks. You can't build roads and bridges with tax breaks unless you put huge tolls on them that no one can afford to pay back the bonds. Let's say they try to get rid of environmental protections and labor protections. Forget it. So do we say no absolutely on the first day, or another one where I tend to agree more with Trump than I did with Obama and Bush? Trade. I think free trade's been a loser. I voted against NAFTA back in 1994. And if he comes up with a really good trade position, we're not going to just necessarily say no. But we're going to hold his feet to the fire. And I can assure you of this. Anything we're going to support will get almost no Republican votes. That may mean we support him on nothing. But we're not going to sacrifice our principles for the sake of compromise.
But a unified party line vote at this point accomplishes nothing. I mean, can the Democrats do anything alone? Right now,
we can't do anything alone. But if it's really positive, progressive type stuff, may not be, and we pick up a few Republicans, it would have to be with a majority of Democrats in the House and Senate. But the bottom line is, I mean, our main job here is, as I said, hold his feet to the fire. It's not going to be to sit in a room and say, where can we compromise, where we can't. If he proposes things that might, he said he was for closing the carried interest loophole. I'm not going to vote against it if he proposes it. All the Republicans will, but I won't. I think we should close the carried interest loophole. So there are a few examples here, and I'm not going to rule them out. But most of the things we're going to be talking about, whether it's health care or education or transportation or helping the poor or voting rights or guns or choice or Planned Parenthood, we're going to pose them tooth and nail.
Let me ask
There's no way for compromise on any of those.
Let me ask you about a very hard line edge on that question, which is the Supreme Court. The Republicans took this unprecedented step. They didn't let President Obama make a Supreme Court appointment for almost a year now.
Very moderate, mainstream nominee.
Yeah. A nominee who a lot of progressives would have been very disappointed in, actually,
yes,
even though he's very widely respected. But that was an incredibly radical thing that the Republicans did. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon says they stole a Supreme Court seat.
It's a fair statement.
Didn't they just get away with it? I mean, are there no consequences for it?
Well, the consequences are going to be down the road. The consequences are going to be down the road. We are not going to settle on a Supreme Court nominee. If they don't appoint someone who's really good, we're going to oppose them tooth and nail. Now then, they won't have 60 votes to put in an out-of-the-mainstream nominee, and then they'll have to make a choice, change the rules. It's going to be very hard for them to change the rules because there are a handful of Republicans who believe in the institution of the Senate and don't change the rules. But we are not going to make it easy for them to pick a Supreme Court justice.
Is there an argument to be made, though, if it is a fair statement that that was basically a stolen seat, so it isn't theirs to fill, then in that case, no nominee would be legitimate because that seat should have been filled by President Obama.
It's hard for me to imagine a nominee that Donald Trump would choose that would get Republican support that we could support. So you're right.
And so you would do your best to hold the seat open?
Absolutely.
In terms of your transition from Harry Reid to you for the Democratic leadership in the Senate, one of the things that Harry Reid sort of took on personally in a very ostentatious way was he took on a real personal fight with the Koch brothers, with Charles and David Koch. Talked about them hundreds of times on the Senate floor.
He did a great job.
He did a great job, but the Koch brothers now, today, we're treated to the news that the guy who used to run Freedom Partners for them, their political network, is apparently going to be director of legislative affairs in the White House. Which, I mean, it's not official, but that's the reporting today.
And
that's who's going to be
Trump
running it.
You see, here's what's going on here. Trump ran against the Democratic and Republican establishments, against both. Trump, as president-elect, has been totally captured by the hard right. The Koch brothers were opposed to him in the campaign, and that will make him a failure. I said this to him. You know, he's called me occasionally on the phone. I said this to him. I said, if you just get embraced by the hard right, and I named Vice President Pence and a few of the others who are pushing him in that direction, you will be so far away from where the average American is, even the average Trump voter was, the non-bigoted parts of them who were just want to change because they were so upset. You'll be a failure. And I don't think he gets that. He didn't say anything. But I don't think he gets that. I think what I think might happen is the hard right runs the show. Now, they'll fail because they're right-wing ideologues. They're so out of touch with America. Trump just sits back and tweets things. And I called him today in my little speech. I said, we can't afford a Twitter presidency. And I said, for instance, you know, he can tweet about his little friend Putin. But if he doesn't get the intelligence briefings, how's he going to know the bad things Putin are doing? And, you know, you can tweet about saving 800 jobs in Carrier. I'm glad he saved them. What about the 1,300 that are going to Mexico, the 500 down the road at that Rexnord, and the thousands every week that we lose? You can't tweet a policy. So the combination of the hard right running the show, even though Trump didn't campaign as a hard right guy, he campaigned as this populist, sometimes with very bad and racist and bigoted overtones, and then him just out there tweeting, it's not going to work. And we have an opportunity. As the Chinese say, danger is opportunity. So I was distraught right after the election, but I'm now actually invigorated by the challenge and our ability to succeed in this challenge.
Let me ask you, I don't know if you have seen this. I don't want to blindside you with this. This is the latest statement, latest tweet, as you were just saying, the president-elect's latest unsolicited pronouncement on the intelligence community. This was his tweet just a little while ago tonight. You see the scare quotes there. The intelligence briefing on so-called Russian hacking was delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time needed to build a case. Very strange. We're actually told, intelligence sources tell NBC News since this tweet has been posted, that actually this intelligence briefing for the president-elect was always planned for Friday. It hasn't been delayed. But he's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them. And we need the intelligence community. We don't know what's going on. Look at the Russian hacking. Without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have discovered it.
Do you think he has an agenda to try to dismantle parts of the intelligence community? I mean, this form of taunting hostility.
Whether you're a super liberal Democrat or a very conservative Republican, you should be against dismantling the intelligence community.
Senator Charles Schumer of New York, as of today, the Senate Minority Leader of the Democrats in the Senate for the new Congress that begins today. Please stay in touch over this time. I will tell you that we have not always had the easiest time in the world talking to the leadership of the Democratic Party in the Obama executive branch or in the Democratic Party legislative branch.
Rachel, and
I hope this is a new era for that,
They can say a lot of bad things about me. Inaccessibility ain't one of them.
I'll hold you to it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're tired. You're poor. You're huddled masses yearning to breathe free. What we the rest. So, this executive order was mean-spirited and un-American.
I noticed Chuck Schumer yesterday with fake tears. I'm going to ask him who is his acting coach, because I know him very well. I don't see him as a crier. If he is, he's a different man. There's about a 5% chance that it was real, but I think they were fake tears.
Is that the American people are fundamentally pro-legal immigration and anti-illegal immigration. We will only pass comprehensive reform when we recognize this fundamental concept. The following 7 principles are all based on this concept and comprise what I believe to be the framework for a bill that can receive overwhelming and bipartisan congressional support. First, illegal immigration is wrong, and a primary goal of comprehensive immigration reform must be to dramatically curtail future illegal immigration. Second, operational control of our borders through significant additional increases in infrastructure, technology, and border personnel must be achieved within a year of enactment. Third, a biometric-based employer verification system with tough enforcement and auditing is necessary to significantly diminish the job magnet that attracts illegal aliens to the United States and to provide certainty and simplicity for employers. 4, all illegal aliens present in the United States on the date of enactment of our bill must quickly register their presence with the United States government and submit to a rigorous process of converting to legal status and earning a path to citizenship or face imminent deportation. 5, family reunification is a cornerstone value of our immigration system. By dramatically reducing illegal immigration, we can create more room for both family immigration and employer-based immigration. 6, we must encourage the world's best and brightest individuals to come to the United States and create the new technologies and businesses that will employ countless American workers, but must discourage businesses from using our immigration laws as means to obtain temporary and less expensive foreign labor to replace capable American workers. And finally, 7, we must create a system that converts the current flow of primarily low-skilled illegal immigrants into the United States into a more manageable and controlled flow of legal immigrants who can be absorbed by our economy. Let me elaborate. The first of these 7 principles is that illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. It's plain and simple and unavoidable. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it. Above all else, the American people want their government to be serious about protecting the public, enforcing the rule of law, and creating a rational system of legal immigration that will proactively fit our needs rather than reactively responding to future waves of illegal immigration. People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally. To the advocates for strong, fair, effective, comprehensive immigration reform, and I'm certainly one, I say to you that the American people will never accept immigration reform unless they truly believe that their government is committed to ending future illegal immigration, and any successful comprehensive immigration reform bill must recognize this fact. I have spoken to many advocates in the past several months, and one of the main reasons I'm optimistic about achieving reform this time around is the advocates understand the need to embrace this principle during the current debate. Second, any immigration solution must recognize that we must do as much as we can to gain control of our borders as soon as possible. But we also need to set the record straight. The American people need to know that because of our efforts in Congress, our border is far more secure today than it was when we began debating comprehensive reform in 2005. Between 2005 and 2009, a vast amount of progress has been made on our borders and ports of entry. The progress includes 9,000 new Border Patrol field agents in the last 4 years, construction of a 630-mile border fence, or 630 miles of border fence, that create a significant barrier to illegal immigration on our southern land border. And third, the implementation of new border technologies which serve as force multipliers and allow the Border Patrol to maintain control of larger segments of the border with fewer agents. All of these measures have contributed to what the New York Times reported on May 15, 2009 is, quote, an extraordinary decline in the number of Mexican immigrants going to the United States, unquote. Those of us who support comprehensive reform have shown our commitment to tough and serious border enforcement. But opponents of comprehensive reform continue to repeat the same old argument that no conversation regarding immigration reform should even begin until we show that we're serious about securing the border. Well, to those people, I say the time has come to end the divisive rhetoric about our border. It's time for those who reflectively parrot the border-first mantra to re-engage in the long-promised yet long-delayed conversation regarding reforming our nation's broken immigration system. All that is needed now to give the Border Patrol the additional infrastructure, technology, and personnel to ensure that it's impossible to unlawfully cross the border without being detected and apprehended. This technology is available, will be deployed in the near future, while at the same time, more border personnel is deployed in the short term until the technology is up and running. These measures for additional border security must be part of any comprehensive immigration reform bill. Third, we must recognize that illegal immigration will never seriously be stifled unless and until we end the job magnet currently engendered by the seriously flawed I-9 regime. As we speak, any individual who steals a Social Security number and has access to a credible fake ID can get a job in the United States. The current system creates havoc for both employers and employees, and no one has any certainty. Employers who accept all credible documents in good faith are not guaranteed they'll never be targeted by the ICE for turning a blind eye toward illegal immigrants in their workplace. And employers who question suspicious documents face potential lawsuits from U.S. citizen employees who can rightly claim they were wrongly profiled as illegal immigrants. The E-Verify system, as presently constituted, can't completely solve this problem. In fact, all that is necessary to obtain employment using E-Verify is to uncover a U.S. citizen's Social Security number and produce a credible fake ID with that U.S. citizen's name and address. Only by creating a biometric-based federal employment verification system will both employers and employees have the peace of mind that all employment relationships are lawful and proper.